Hello and welcome to the second unboxing video of Unsourced's HULKvember. Last time we went through the first of two items from this giant box, the punching action Hulk figure. And now we're back at it again to finish off the particular package of a toy that I never actually had back in my youth. And this is maybe one that I probably wouldn't have appreciated back then. But hot damn, am I really excited to have it now. It's one of those figures that you can only really appreciate with the gift of time. Because what we have is a figure that is probably one of the most odd, most unique, and most impressive of the toy line tie-in to the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie. And yeah, let's get this open and see what we have here. It is none other than the one, the only, and I mean the only, David Banner action figure. And I am really stretching the term action here. Now, you can see right from the box, this is an insane figure. Now, for those of you who might not know much about the Hulk or 2003 movie, let's have a little crash course. David Banner is a movie version of Brian Banner, renamed as a fun little reference to the Incredible Hulk TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, and taking huge inspiration out of the Bill Mantlo and Peter David runs on the Hulk. David Banner was made the villain of the Ang Lee film, but not really in the typical superhero movie mold. For like 90% of the movie, he's the villain in the sense that the conflict and strife of the movie stems from how much the abusive upbringing of Bruce has pretty much caused and influenced everything. It's a little more low-key and grounded in terms of like the central drama. And even when the final act does turn to like a super-powered punch-em-up, it does so very artistically and stylistically, him becoming like a lightning bolt whose every punch looks like a snap freeze-frame painting, and basically turning into all of the classic elements. Now, from a toy selling perspective, it would be really hard to make a figure based on this character. He's a lot more drama-focused and intense than, say, Thanos or Yellow Jacket or Darth Maul, you know, very toyetic and design-focused villains. David Banner, like for most of the movie, is a disheveled, abusive old man. But you kind of have to have a main villain presented in a toy line. Like the Hulk needs something to fight. I mean, sure, other Titan merch made by Toy Biz and other companies at the time for the movie had like tanks and helicopters for the Hulk to beat up. But you need an actual representation of the villain, you know, bash the figures against. So it's clear from the box that Toy Biz had kind of a pickle in their hands. And I don't blame them one bit. Because while there's a few dozen varieties of like the main Hulk figure, there's only one David Banner figure. Now, from the jump, let's talk about this figure's main gimmick, and let's get out of the box first. Now, and the main gimmick, as you can see, is interchangeable body parts. Like I've said, the final minutes of the final act have David transform into all kinds of things like lightning, water, earth, air. It's very mythical stuff, and it would be hard to restrict a figure like that into one of those forms. So they came up with this idea to have interchangeable arms and legs in order to simulate that shape-shifting ability. And it's actually a pretty damn awesome idea. Like the sculpt is great, the look is great, the concept is amazing. Like it's creative and fun. And having all the elements formed into one figure makes it look less like a figure and almost statue-like. A Greek statue of sorts, you know? Which is great because like Nick Nolte and Ang Lee were very adamant that this is like a mythic, groundbreaking kind of movie story style. And that's also good because this figure basically has like no articulation. The limbs are all pre-posed. In order to, you know, have like fake bendability, you have to swap out a limb. It's not versatile in the least, and the only reason you'd ever even get this is, you know, for the novelty of getting a David Banner figure that looks like this, and for kids, you know, who need the villain to, you know, face off against. And I don't blame that at all. I think there's really little you could do with this character in terms of a toy line. And Toy Biz like knocked out of the park in every way conceivable. So let's get this out of here and test some combinations out. Now we got him out of the box. And yeah, what you get is one rock arm, another wood arm to replace the metal arm, and two other rock legs. Which is weird. You think you'd get like maybe to get a complete set of all, because you only have like one like obsidian leg. So having like two rock legs, I don't know, I'd rather have two obsidian legs. But let's see how easy it is to pop these out. I don't want to strain the plastic because this is old as hell. And you know, it seems pretty set in there. yeah, I'm not going to stress it. I am not. Besides, I like the way that it looks. Maybe in a future HULKvember video, I'll have heat this up a little bit and make it more pliable to pull out. But right now, like I said, this is almost 20 years old at this point, and I'm not going to risk completely destroying this thing when it looks pretty good. I still think the sculpt is great. Having it all sort of converge together looks amazing. And even bringing in the metal, which is like the only part of this that is faithful to the film, where he first gets the absorbing powers and his hand becomes all stretched out and it makes that annoying nails on chalkboard type of sound, is represented here. And very much more importantly, like with the punching action Hulk, it's hard to find figures in this line that balance the tone between what the movie is going for and the fun interactive toy product, like aesthetic. This really lets the latter fall by the wayside, but the look and impressiveness, the detail and central aesthetic is maybe one of the best of the entire tie-in series. Even the head sculpt, like in the last video, it looks pretty damn much like Nick Nolte. It's just astonishing, honestly. And even if there's not much playability, it's still kind of a must-have for any fan of the movie who wants some cool as hell memorabilia. And just for fun, if you can find one and if it's easy to get an arm off or a leg off, you can always just leave it off and pretend he has like an air arm or air leg. So yeah, it's great. You're not going to get much movement out of it. It only poses. I think they knew that because with the tray it comes in, there's this weird indent. Like nothing came in here. I don't think anything fell out. Maybe there was an extra head or something that they're going to put in there. There's really nothing that you could place in there. I think it's actually meant to be a little stand. Because with no posability, with no like arms or leg articulation or anything to actually balance it out, without like a proper base, he's going to keep falling over. But we'll try our best, and we're going to see how it scales with the punching action Hulk. And that's probably why these came in a 2-pack, because they're like the best representations of their figures and of the characters from the movie. I say it's reasonable. Now, one thing about Nick Nolte is that he becomes this elemental god figure. So he becomes enormously huge. But just on a general scale, like it's nice to have both these. They look great side by side, and I'm glad to have them both. Like I said, if you love the movie like I do, it's just a real kick to have it. And I'm glad that it's part of HULKvember. Alright, so this is an addendum, and yet another one that I'm doing for these videos to the David Banner video that you just finished mostly seeing. Because it turns out that it isn't entirely pre-molded. Hidden in the really janky legs are a knee joint. Now, that doesn't help at all with the stabilization because they're still practically molded in a walking position. So it doesn't help him stand up any better. But I have to say, it is pretty, it's nice to have. It really is cleverly hidden because the legs themselves are just so janky and mangled and just all over the place that you don't really notice the knee joint on the back or the front. And what you also don't notice, because it matters nothing, is that you have a little ankle pivot too. Helps not at all with destabilization because they're hindered by the rest of the sculpt. But I guess they were trying, and that means a lot. Also, at the time of recording this, a couple of days after the rest of the video, I was able to actually swap out the arms and legs. Now, one thing you might notice is, well, it's a lot more jangly now because swapping out the arms and legs, like I thought, really does shave down the pegs. And you notice that whenever you take one out, that there's a little bit of plastic residue on the inside and on the peg itself. So I don't recommend doing it. And I don't recommend doing it a lot if you want to do it. But at the end of this video, I am going to post some, I guess, gallery pics of the main body and of the entire swapped arms and legs look, just to give you an idea of what that would look like. And I do have to say that it is easier with the alternate legs to stand him up, but not by much as well. So I can definitely understand why I believe that was meant to be a stand hold, because it just makes the most sense. They must have known that this was not going to be a workable toy. It is possible to get him to stand up, but he's always gonna be like slouching and like lumbering forward. So it's not the most dynamic, but it is really cool looking. Anyway, those pictures coming up right after this. Thank you so much for watching the second week of HULKvember. I had a lot of fun talking about this figure, and like I said, it makes a perfect counterpoint with the Punching Hulk, and they're a great set to have together. If you need any two figures from this series, get these two. They look well together. Another thing I want to try out, because now that we have these two, I just kind of bashed them together the last time. But one thing we should probably look at is how well the punching mechanism works with David Banner here. Yeah. Actually has a nice amount of force to it, and it's pretty fun. So, that's it for the second week. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and can't wait for you to watch next week, because it is going to be kind of a hassle, and I can't wait to experience that with you guys. So, thank you so much. Look out for the pictures right after this, and see you again next time.